You're watching the chat room with Shiza on Pakistan TV Digital. I heard you, I saw your comments, and today I'm going to talk about youth inclusion in decision making, in legislations on national level. So when we say that we are living in a country with around 70% of youth bulge, it's a challenge as well as an opportunity. To talk about that today, I'm going to be in conversation with someone who happens to be an educationist, but also a member National Assembly. Amna Batul is in conversation with me. Hello, Amna. Thank you so much for joining me here.
Hello, Shehzad. Thank you so much for having me here.
It's always a pleasure to be in conversation with you. And I know today it must be a busy day. It's a weekday, of course. So how were you able to get time off?
So actually, it's Ramadan,
Yeah.
and all of the activities and all of the responsibilities and say what we do normally has all shuffled up. If we talk about work, that hasn't stopped. We are having our parliament sessions. We are having a lot of activities at the Prime Minister's Youth Program. We are having, the work would ever stop. Given the leadership of our Prime Minister, Shehbaz Sharif, he's been so active. He's been, doing everything round the clock. And I think his team, everybody in his team has so been active, doing a lot of things for Pakistan, plus the current circumstances. So I think it is just keeping in a loop of performing activities all day round, and even over the weekends the teams are working, the whole cabinet is being working. So I think yes.
And I think it also creates a ripple effect when the leadership itself is very proactive. Then definitely everyone wants to work. Amna, am I correct in saying that you also happen to be the focal person for the Prime Minister's Youth Program?
Yes, I am the focal person for the Prime Minister's Youth Program. Prime Minister's Youth Program is actually the flagship initiative of Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif himself. And under the leadership of Chairman Rana Mashood Ahmed Khan, we have been doing a lot for the 70% of the population, almost 70% of the population of Pakistan, which is youth. And we are bringing in a lot of opportunities around education, employment, environment, engagement, and a lot of other things. You name it, any initiative for the youth, the Prime Minister Youth Program is bridging the gap with the different ministries to provide the right opportunities for the youth of Pakistan.
And this is actually a great segue into what I was going to ask next. I have been, over the period of few months, ever since we started this podcast, I've been in conversation with youth of Pakistan from different, backgrounds. And we spoke about so many different avenues also. And a very interesting notion was that the youth is very disconnected with the politics itself. Reason being, there's no representation. So you cannot expect a 22-year-old, a 26-year-old to connect with a 60-year-old parliamentarian or someone from the National Assembly. Now we have people like you. How do you think you or people like you, your colleagues, can bring about a change where youth can actually connect with the politics?
So, Shiza, I would say currently the dynamics of politics in Pakistan is also changing. We have a lot of young representation in the parliament. We have a lot of female young representation, male young representation in the parliament. We have young male ministers. We have young female ministers, naming Shaza. Her leadership, the kind of energy she brings to the parliament and the ministry, the lot of great things that are happening in the ministries. Again, in the parliament, we are working on different initiatives around youth. In the Prime Minister's Youth Program, we are addressing a lot of opportunities that actually connects the gap. I would say when I was young and I was studying and I was in my master's, I would say, so I would think about, I was actually studying this public policy. So I would wonder that, how am I going to be a change? How am I going to be how am I going to bring something in the policy horizon of Pakistan, given I'm not even a recipient, given I'm not even a participant in the policy making? Now the things have changed. Now the tables have turned. First time ever, the Prime Minister Youth Program has developed National Youth and Employment Policy, National Youth and Adolescent Policy, National E-Sport Policy.
Wow.
And what would surprise you is that this is for the first time that we have actually taken the ideas, the inputs from the youth of Pakistan. We have kept them engaged. The Prime Minister's Youth Program have gone to all provinces. We had a very long survey to be filled, and we took on board all the students, all the adolescents. When we're talking about the adolescent, we took 9 to 13 years of age, young girls and boys, to tell us that what do they want to see in the policy. We don't want these policies now to be built in a closed room, but now we want them to, be on the table, be these the students, the young Pakistanis, be actually the change makers, and we actually somebody who would we look forward to in giving an input into the policy. So
Yeah.
this something around this is I would say that is bringing a change, and this is how we are trying to connect with the youth of Pakistan.
I mean, this is honestly so interesting because, like I said, inclusion was always missing.
Mm.
If you're going to make policies for people that are going to eventually, like you said, benefit from it in the future, they need to be in the process of policy making. A very interesting thing you mentioned was the unemployment policy. Can we have some anecdotes about that?
So Pakistan did not have any youth employment policies.
Mhm.
While I was teaching at Nambal, so when I was in a classroom, I would ask the first class, of course, it is an introductory class. So I would
Yeah.
ask everybody in my class that what would you want to be? So everybody wanted to be a government officer. Nobody wanted to be an entrepreneur. Nobody wanted to be something, a designer or somebody who would want to bring in their own ideas or opportunities to the ground.
Mhm.
Everybody wanted to go and land into a job. So this National Youth and Employment Policy has everything in it listed that how we are going to see that the youth of Pakistan look forward when it comes to employment, when
Mhm.
it comes to different opportunities. So the Prime Minister Youth Program has sat down with international partners, with international community also. We have our diaspora who have sit down with us, and we have developed this policy with a lot of stakeholders, and we have designed new opportunities, new linkages that would actually build that what the youth of Pakistan is going to see when it comes to employment.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Really looking forward to the change, of
Yeah.
course. I mean, about time, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to take you back a little. Last time we met, you were an educationist and an activist. You've always been advocating for out of school children. You've always been advocating for education for all kinds of children. And now we're meeting with you as a member of National Assembly. First of all, congratulations on
Thank
that.
you.
Was this always in plans? How did the change happen? And are you saying that it was a shift, or are you taking both of these together?
Okay, so Shaza, I would sum it up as that I would always wanted to be a volunteer.
Mhm.
And for me, even being a politician is being a volunteer to the society, being
Yeah.
in a volunteerism for the betterment of the society. Even when I look forward to my leadership, you have seen how tirelessly our premier has been always been working for
Hmm.
the Pakistan, for the development of Pakistan, for the better Pakistan. And following his leadership, I have always been wanted to do something for Pakistan, and my initiative for the Street to Children School was also, one chain to what I wanted to be it on the table for the at the policy level.
Mhm.
So for me, when I in 2011, when I started volunteering for the party for the PMLN as a member in their social media team and a part of the research wing team, so the journey then started. I was
Mhm.
also the recipient for the Prime Minister, then Chief Minister laptop scheme. I
Nice.
was one of at the highest at the merit from the Canadian College, and it was like that was something when I thought how a small device, how something a small connectivity can build into a larger landscape for the people of Pakistan. How a small initiative can actually shape what we look forward to when we look forward to seeing a better Pakistan. So I had always been this in mind that maybe at one point in time I would try to bring a positive change for the youth of Pakistan in terms of policy changes, in terms of what we can see that how different initiatives can bring actually a change for them.
Can I tell you something, Amna? When we found out that you were available for the podcast, I was so excited about it because this is like powerful female representation. For all of those who don't know, you're a wife, you're a mother of three, mashallah. You're an educationist, of course, an advocate, an activist, but now a member National Assembly too. So many roles. The plate is mashallah, mashallah full. How do you manage?
So I think balancing is the key.
Mhm.
My day starts with my family. The huggle wuggle of the hustle bustle of the house, and then the kids and everything, sending them off to school, and then coming to office, and then parliament session, then different work on the policies, different meetings, meeting with the international partners, meeting with the national partners, sitting and working actually on the policy level. This is a tough job. I would
Mhm.
say for a woman, this is a tough job. But again, the support from my family has always been there. I've been very lucky in this. My husband, my family, my children. They know my schedule, and they've always been, very helpful with what I want to be. When I want to have my me time, they know that, okay, mama is going to be busy. So, things, sometimes things get difficult, of
Yeah.
course, but it's not an easy journey. It has never been an easy journey for females.
True.
Because we have to manage our homes as well, and we have to manage our work-life balance as well. So I think, but it is going good. It is going good. Yeah.
That's good news. Do the children realize that mama is a politician?
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. But I have always wanted to be grounded, because I don't want to take them as somebody who belong to a very political family. But because of course in different schools and everything, the notion around politics and everything is very catchy, and they take it something like it's a very status sigma or something. So I don't want them to taken this an impression. I want them to, just see that how mama is going to bring a change for Pakistan, maybe at a policy level, even if it is a small change.
Right.
I would want them to see it positively. I would want them to see their mama doing it, something positive for the country.
Honestly, Amna, it's so empowering for, to be honest, children growing up, looking at their mother being such a role model, not only for them, but of course for people around. But now, because you're in the position of making changes, making policies and rules, and then eventually watch the policies be implemented, bring a change. How are you making sure that you bring values that were close to your heart, for example, education, into the National Assembly, and making sure that these rules are made, these policies are made, and then implemented?
This is a very good question, Shaza, and a very difficult one also, because when I was advocating for the street children education, it was something different. It was coming from an activist level. Now, when I talk about educating or empowering the youth of Pakistan, it is about something coming from a parliament, something coming from the legislative part of the country. And we all know that the Constitution of Pakistan has Article 25A, which allows each and every individual to have free education, right? So
It's a basic right.
Yeah. So we are just advocating it. I mean, when I look at the number of youth in Pakistan, which is again, it's 70%. When I look at the number of female representation, female in Pakistan, it's 49%. I actually want to advocate for the women of Pakistan, for the youth of Pakistan, who look forward to the government, who look forward to their leadership, for the right opportunities, for the right skill of opportunities. Prime Minister Youth Program is actually all about it. We have all the right opportunities. We have all the right programs. We have all the right, I would say, the paths to lead to, what you want to be in another 10 years. If we talk about agriculture, business and agriculture loan scheme, if we talk about endowment fund, if we talk about different scholarships. So these are all something that actually resonates with the idea of educating the youth of Pakistan, providing them with the right opportunities.
Brilliant. But Amna, I think you will agree with me when we say that education now cannot be void of AI.
Yeah.
Not only education, actually artificial intelligence, this is the world we live in, a Web 3.0 out there, technological advancements so fast that I cannot keep up anymore. But AI is a part of our daily lives, our daily operations, our offices, our education, communication, everything. Is AI, we also have now a national AI strategy, right? How are you implementing that in education, and how do you, as a woman, as a mother, as a member National Assembly, think that it can become a part of household so that people are not scared of the change? A lot of people still, including my parents, they're scared of AI.
Yeah. They all say that maybe they are going to replace you even.
I mean,
replace everybody.
by all means.
So with AI, of course, the Ministry of Information Technology and Telecommunication have developed this national AI strategy, which I think is a great stride towards what we look forward to Pakistan to be in the horizon of positive AI. We have launched curriculums for AI in schools. We have made them compulsory, the AI education in school, because again, when it is AI, there is no coming back. There is no stop to it. So we need to see what ethics, what kind of right platforms, what kind of right the ethics, the right opportunities, the right platform that the youth of Pakistan have to use.
Right.
And if we talk about the Prime Minister's Youth Program, we have recently launched the Digital Youth Hub, which is going to be a large platform, which is having a lot of opportunities for the youth of Pakistan. It also has an AI counselor which would guide you what kind of right scholarships, what kind of right opportunities are going to be there for you. So I think we are integrating, Pakistan actually is integrating best into AI. And even in the household, everybody right now in our household have mobile phone devices, we have iPads. We are just making sure that all of these AI, all of these digital interventions are safe for the youth of Pakistan, are safe for the households of Pakistan, because safety is I think the first step.
Absolutely.
Recently, I mean, we have launched the 5G spectrum,
Yeah.
which is going to bring, I mean, something bigger for Pakistan, something more empowering. All of these interventions that we just spoke about.
Brilliant. Actually, the minister, Shaza Fatma, was here a few weeks ago. We spoke about in detail, all the reforms she's making. And it was so amazing and so inspiring, to be honest, to see young women like you in power making these changes that will actually have an impact. Can we have one incident where it was super chaotic in the National Assembly and then you were in it, right? So before you used to watch on TV or behind the camera, and now you were in it, and this was like the wholesome moment for you where you realized, oh, I'm here, I have arrived.
Okay, so I would say this was when I took oath. It was my first day, of course, in the parliament.
Yeah.
I was just there, and there was this whole lot of noise. And when we see it in TV, we see it, of course, from a different perspective. We would never. I mean, how would I am coming from a middle class background? How would I wonder that I would make it to the doors of the parliament, right? So when it was my first day, I was going to take the oath, and there was a lot of noise. I mean, the prime minister just took oath, the parliament just formed up, and everything was so boiled up. So when I was there, I was walking up to the speaker sahab, to the honorable speaker, to sign up the oath register. So there was a lot of noise. I mean, I just looked up like this, and I was like, okay. And then I looked down. I thought, okay, I'm here. Okay,
Was it overwhelming?
It was so overwhelming. I mean, of course, there was opposition, and then all of her chanting, the tables were
Right.
like, in congratulating, and they were like hooting, no, we can't,
Yeah.
we won't accept it. So this was, okay, I thought, okay, now I am here. Now I am here. So yeah, that
Right.
was very overwhelming. Yes.
But that's so nice to hear coming from, the real story from inside. But does it break your resolve at some point? The opposition?
No, actually, the leadership has always been so supportive. They have always, they have always supported me in different initiatives. They have always appreciated me or whatever I'm doing, the small things, the bigger things. So there is something, that is something when it gives you the actual encouragement and the actual support that you want. I mean, somebody who, like me, who just made it to the parliament, of course, it gets overwhelming for me. Of course, things get really burdened when I think about, oh, I'm going to do this, even if I'm going to do it right. But the support from my seniors, the support from the leadership has always been there. And even when I think it's a small achievement, they make it look so big that it's in itself, it makes me really proud.
So that is kind of the environment that we're all striving for, right? Moving on, Amna, one huge thing happened last year, a few months ago. You were a part of it, mashallah, and one of the, not the only, but first female representative for FIFA from Pakistan. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Please let us know your exact position, what you were doing in that. But before that, how did it come to you?
Okay, so FIFA, of course, Pakistan, I always say that the youth of Pakistan play cricket as a passion. But this new thing, the football, is actually somebody who the youth of Pakistan actually look forward to playing. I mean, they want to have it in their games. We have different football clubs, and we see the Gen Z and Gen Alpha actually really looking forward to how we can play football. Because hockey is our national game. Cricket, I told you that we watch it by passion. Now, football is something Gen Z and Gen Alpha is actually looking forward to play. And they were looking forward to actually the right platforms that where they can play nationally. Our young football players will now have the right platform where they can play and where they can have the representation actually from Pakistan. So from manufacturing the footballs in Sialkot for over the years for FIFA, FIFA has for the first time nominated a female representation from Pakistan. I am on their institutional reforms committee, which actually is going to see how Pakistan can make a road towards the FIFA World Cup, inshallah. This is for the first time that our women team is going to play in Ivory Coast. in April
Right.
for FIFA. For these are for the countries who do not actually make it to the World Cup.
Hmm.
So they are having different matches around the world. So Pakistani women team, and I
Hmm.
would say women team,
Yeah.
is going to play for FIFA in Ivory Coast in
Wow.
April, and then in Europe, in with the European League, this is going to be the first time
Hmm.
that our our young male team is going to play in Europe with the teams of FIFA.
Mhm.
So these different interventions are something that we are looking forward to. And with FIFA, with my selection in FIFA has made, and with the president of the Pakistan Football Federation, we are working really closely, and we are looking at how we can bring in good opportunities, how the football players, the male, the young female, the women, and everybody who are playing football have the right platform to
Right.
shine on and play national international matches.
And we're really looking forward to that, of course.
Even
I want, yeah,
even if you allow me, I
of
would want
course.
to add that we are also working at the with UN
Mhm.
for the youth mental health, keeping football as a sport towards building on the conversation around the youth mental health. So
Brilliant.
this is again something driven from the United Nations, something driven for the youth of Pakistan,
Mhm.
because I think this is very important that we also we also
Yeah.
mm, give the right direction for the youth of Pakistan when it comes to mental health challenges.
100%. Absolutely. But Amna, I want to know the conversation that happened with you and the FIFA leadership that brought you in this position.
So actually, the FIFA reached out to the South Asia for a nomination for the Institution Relations Committee, and I applied for it. There were interviews from the South Asian region, and I made it to the committee.
Nice. Very nice. But over the past few years, legal battles, FIFA suspensions,
Yes,
finally
yes,
we're out of it.
yes.
Good time ahead for Pakistan?
Yes. With the just I told you the recent appointment of the president of the Football Federation,
Federation, yeah.
Mohsin Gilani. He is also a member of one of the FIFA committees.
Mhm.
So he has actually revamped the whole structure, they revamped the whole football arena for the Pakistani football players, and you would see a lot of good change in the coming. I would not say months. I would say in coming days, inshallah.
Inshallah.
And our teams will be playing nationally and internationally both. We are also developing football for schools program with FIFA,
Mm.
and we are also developing different futsal grounds, different pitches in schools. So a lot of it is coming for Pakistan from FIFA.
Brilliant. So now FIFA is another thing that is now added to your plate. And I think, needless to say, you're handling it pretty well. But what is one thing, can be a legislation, can be a social issue, can be anything that actually keeps you up at night and you're like, this is something I really have to work on, and it's the purpose of your life at some point.
I think my role in politics, the whole idea of myself in politics, I would always want to advocate for my youth. I would always want to advocate what the right opportunities, the right ideas, the right things that I could bring in for the youth of Pakistan. All of my resolutions, all of my questions in the parliament, all of the motions I make are around youth, are around providing the right opportunities for the youth of Pakistan, because this is the high time. I mean, this is a huge youth bulge. We can't
Mm.
really disagree that okay, it is okay, we'll think about it after 10 years.
Yeah,
No,
no.
we have to take them on board. We have to take them into the legislation. We have to take them into the right decision making powers, because only then Pakistan will thrive.
Would you say that if you met your younger self today, would she be happy to see you in the place that you are?
I think yes. I think yes.
What would the conversation be like?
I think I would just I said that I always wanted to do volunteerism,
Hmm.
and my whole journey, my whole last 10 years, I've been working for the street children. I've been working for different students around in Pakistan, supporting their education from one way or another, connecting people. So for me, the conversation would be that okay, I made it to I think the right place. Allah Ta'ala has been kind enough to give me this opportunity to actually do something for Pakistan, to actually make a positive change, even if it's small. I won't mind. But actually, if we talk about education, I think I am at the right place, and the conversation would be very healthy, because this is I always wanted to be doing something good for Pakistan.
That's so wholesome, though. So you are achieving whatever you dreamt of. And of course, by hard work, it doesn't just happen overnight. So we spoke about, youth engagement, and Representation, yes, now we have. Inclusion in terms of, building new policies, yes, we do have. Do you think the mentality that the youth has towards Pakistani politics, is it a positive one at the moment, or do you see a change? What could change?
Shiza, I always wondered when I was studying governance and public policy. So we had this course, politics and leadership.
Mhm.
So there was this whole chapter that told us about the negative connotation it has with the term politics.
Yeah.
I mean, why would it be? Why would the youth of Pakistan see politicians or politics as a negative word? Whenever we talk about something, we say, oh, you're doing this politics around it. I mean, no, the politics is very much positive. We
Mhm.
need to see how positive it is. The whole governance models, the whole system actually come from the politicians themselves.
Yeah.
I mean, they are. We live in a democracy, right? So the youth of Pakistan, the people of Pakistan have all the right to have their politicians accountable. I mean, the politicians are doing everything in their capacity. Recently, you have seen the austerity measures that we are
Yeah.
taking. I think these are the kind of steps that if the youth of Pakistan acknowledge positively, can
Mm.
bring a lot of good, a lot of positivity in our society.
Yeah.
Because when we are not positive and we actually see everything in a negative manner, because the conversation started with that I told that the politicians or word politics is always termed with a negative connotation.
Yeah.
I don't know why. So we need to change this idea. We need to we need to build this trust. We need to build this empowerment into the youth, in the politicians of Pakistan, that they are trying their best to bring the best for Pakistan. Because without them, without, of course, our forces, without the leadership, without the politicians, I mean, where would it be? Where would Pakistan be?
Politics or politicians themselves were not available or accessible to people of the society. Now they are. Now the people of the society are being represented, are being talked about, included. So I think the connotation is now going to change. Really looking forward to that.
Because we have actually bring the youth of Pakistan into the political arena. Because when we bring them from fringes to the center, there becomes the changes.
Yeah.
There is when the change actually begins.
And that's how you empower them. But this reminds me of something, and I think this is the perfect moment for you to answer this. I was in conversation with a brilliant Pakistani youth. I think they were here on the platform also. And we spoke about student unions and how they're so powerful throughout the world because they eventually, involve themselves into the national system and legislations also. They're banned in Pakistan for over 4 decades now. Is this something you're working on?
So the last year, the Prime Minister Youth Program has formulated this National Youth Council. It has 100 Pakistani young, bright minds who are part of this council, who are actually part of the whole policy system, whole policy cabinet of the Prime Minister, young policy cabinet of the Prime Minister himself. And the 14 are from the international diaspora. So these 114 are actually the kind of representation we want from the youth of Pakistan. It was an open call for applications. We had over 30,000 plus applications from all across Pakistan. And then we also have 2 transgenders on board so that their voices are also heard. So this whole National Youth Council is actually the kind of student voices, the kind of voices that we want to hear, and we want them to actually shape them. We want them to build, and we want them to build positively for Pakistan.
Like you said, so there were 100 vacancies, more than 30,000 applied. But then doesn't it reduce the whole representation? So when we talk about student unions, that is like larger education institutions and universities having the right to make their unions and then, sit down and talk about policies. Is that something that can be happening? Can be a yes or no answer?
I would never want to say a no to anything. Perfect. because of course student unions are very important. We can look forward into a right positive policies that how we can engage them. Prime Minister Youth Program actually brings in different student from different universities on different programs and different initiatives. One thing that I would want to add is that we have 137 Green Youth Movement clubs all across Pakistan. Green Youth Movement clubs are actually working towards the climate advocacy and the climate change, different climate programs that the students are working. So the kind of positive unions, I would always prefer they should be. And I'm sure the unions must be doing something positive, but at a state level, at something that we would see that how they're going to, get encouraged or get empowered. There is something that we need to look forward that how to actually operationalize them to have their right pathway from their universities to actually the state level, to actually the programs, to actually the Prime Minister Youth Program and wherever. And the Prime Minister Youth Program is actually very open. If somebody has came up to you and they have the union, they can always reach out to us, and we would always welcome them, and we would always listen to what they have to say and see if we can actually together build something positive.
So it's not a no and there's hope. I really like that. Yeah. Just towards the end, I'm at the risk of making it political again. You mentioned the austerity measures that the Prime Minister himself announced and that the whole Pakistan is going to take in lieu of the ongoing global crisis, of course. Is this going to change daily lives of, first of all, individuals, people from different parts of the society? Second part of the same question is, how is this austerity going to change let's say, life of politician?
So everything that comes from a leadership, I'm sure, like I said, is always for the betterment of Pakistan. This is just the positivity that we need to connect with how things are coming for the common men or the laymen of Pakistan. So all of these measures, the work from home policy, the online classes policy, the fuel cut for of course for the government vehicles, and the salary reduction of the parliamentarians as well, and the salary reduction of the cabinet members as well. So actually we volunteered ourselves as at the heart of it, that okay, if there is something good going for Pakistan, so we are all up for it, because our leadership has been always been at the forefront of when it comes to the positivity of betterment of Pakistan. So all of these measures, inshallah, with the resolve that one day, inshallah, all of these crises, all of this global crisis will going to be settled. We'll come back to the normal life. We'll come back to to how we were working. But of course, since there are these global tensions going on, the Prime Minister, the Chief of Defence Forces, they're all working really hard to bring up some positivity for Pakistan. And inshallah, I really look forward that the things will settle in.
Inshallah, of course. Thank you so much, Amna Batul. As always, this has been such an insightful conversation. I always say empowered women, empower women, and that's exactly what you're doing. Thank you for doing that.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, conversations never end. I will catch you next week back here in the chat room with Shazam.